So hey, it's a rainy day, and I decided to make some sourdough bread, and Buddy decided to help me. And before you get upset, it's bread for us. I don't sell it or anything, so if you kind of are offended that I have the dog in the kitchen, it's okay, because it's our bread, and I don't mind. We're good with that. So anyway, when I first started making sourdough bread, it was quite a challenge. Now, you have to stay here. I know this is not as exciting. He likes it much better when we do dog food, not the bread, but he likes to help. You know, oh, okay, sit still. He does like to help. So anyway, I've got a pretty consistent recipe now that generally I don't have. I mean, some bread comes out a little bit better than others, but it's generally pretty consistent. So we do 515 grams of bread flour. But he's like, that is not yummy stuff. So no, he thinks it's some. No, it is not. This is absolutely not for you. Okay, so it's 515 grams of bread flour, and I use King Arthur's. And hang on, we're measuring it out. That was one of the big things I learned in the beginning, is to use a scale, not to use like cups, you know, to go with the scale to measure everything. That made a big difference in the bread. Okay, so now we've got a little bit too much. Okay, 515 grams of our bread flour. And then I need, let's see, then I zero my scale out again. And I'm going to do 105 grams of all-purpose flour. But no, there's no, oops, nothing in there that's good. No. I know, this is not what you're, no, get out of the flour. Yeah, this may be not our best idea, but he really does like to help me. So then we do 105 of all-purpose flour, 105 grams of all-purpose flour. With dogs barking in the background. This is a great video. But, you know, Buddy and I have to practice for the podcast. We won't be making bread on the podcast, but we're making bread today. Okay, so we have 105 grams of that. Then we need to zero out our scale again. No, this is not for you. This is my stuff that I'm making. All right, hang on. Stay there, Buddy. Whoops. Okay. Hang on. Okay, so we're continuing now. So we have the 515 grams of bread flour, 105 of the all-purpose flour, and now we're doing 10 of salt. We use the Celtic sea salt. Got to zero out my scale. And again, Buddy is helping me. I did put a little plate of snacks because he was getting bored. He says this wasn't fun for him if he doesn't get snacks. But so he's got to get snacks. He really likes his snacks, and he has mostly good behavior when he wants to, so he deserves snacks, right? So anyway, so we're working on, whoops, got too much salt. Okay, so we did 10 grams of Celtic sea salt. Now we do 100 grams of our starter. So here's our starter. So we're going to do zero out our scale, and let's see, put this right here. Okay, then we're going to do zero it out. Okay, 100 grams of the starter. And it's funny though, how challenging the sourdough was in the beginning, but I really, whoops, got a lot of starter. Hopefully it won't hurt because we have a little extra starter in here, but I don't think it matters. Wasn't paying attention. Okay, and then we're going to add our 300, I need to zero out my scale again, and we're going to do 375 grams of spring water. Okay. We zero it out. Okay. 375 grams of the spring water. Dogs are very loud today. Okay. So now we have all of this in our bowl. Take it off the scale to mix it. Apparently you'll wreck your scale if you mix it on your scale. So then we mix all of this up in the bowl. My dog, sorry. Nothing like loud dogs. And the loudest one is our little Yorkie foster dog. He's probably going to be a foster fail, but you never know. We aren't sure. He's sort of, he's a challenging foster. He's been our most most challenging foster that we've had since we have been here fostering. Okay, so then I start mixing this up, and it looks like they call it like shaggy. So I mix it up so we get as much of the flour that's loose on the bottom integrated in here. And then what I'll do is I will take this bowl and I will cover it and I will let it sit for about an hour. And then once I do that is when I will move it to a glass bowl, and then I will start doing the stretch and fold or slap and folds. I do slap and folds, which sounds really weird, but it works better for me than the stretch and fold. So anyway, this is what it looks like. It's going to sit an hour, and we'll be back to do our slap and folds. Right, Buddy? Oh, Buddy says he gets a snack for good behavior. And again, don't stress. It's our bread. I don't sell it. So some people are going to be like really stressed out that there's a dog in the kitchen. Oh, geez, gave me too big of a piece. Okay, well, he's keeping it. All right, we'll be back. Okay, so Buddy and I are back. So this has sat for about an hour. I showed it to you when it was shaggy after I mixed it together, and you can see it's basically absorbed all of the flour. What I do after the first time after the hour is I just reach in the bowl, and I basically am doing kind of stretch and folds. I'm just pulling and folding it back over itself. I'm just doing it. I put this one hand on my dough and then pull up with this one, and then just fold it over itself a few times and just get it a little bit better incorporated. You can start to see how the texture like changes. The more you work the dough, it'll get smoother, and you'll just feel it. It's different in your hand. It starts to just become a little more elastic. And like I said, the more you work with it, the more you'll just feel the difference. But so I basically do that, I don't know, 6, 8 times, push it down with one hand and pull it and fold it over with the other one. So you can see this is basically what our texture looks like right now. It's still a little like soggy. It's not very smooth, and it's pretty sticky. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it sit in here again, cover it up, wait about a half an hour, and then I used to do just stretch and folds, but now, Buddy, what are you doing? Buddy's sort of bored. He likes it much better when we make the dog food, right? You're not having as much fun here. No, he doesn't like bread as much. But I do slap and folds now, which I will show you when we come back. Right, Buddy? You want to have a little snack for being such a good boy? Take your pick. You can have one. Okay, Buddy gets his little snack. All right, we'll be back. Okay, so Buddy did not want to be here while we were doing the slap and folds because it is a little bit loud, and I didn't figure he would enjoy that. So, okay, after I've done the one, like just stretching, pulling, and folding, and it sat again for another half an hour, you can see it gets kind of, it's kind of like gooey and sticky again, okay? So again, like I talked about, you're going to start noticing the difference of the texture in your dough. So the way I do the stretch and folds, I take this and I smack it down on the counter, fold it back over on itself, flip it around, give it a little shake, smack it down again, fold it over, do the same thing, take it like this, smack it down, fold it over. I do this a few times until I start to like the texture. It starts to get a little bit smoother and a little less sticky. I like to get it just like a nice big like whack on the counter. I know it seems a little weird, but I feel like it gives it more air, and somehow, I don't know, it just comes out better for me. Some people do the stretch and folds. I think it makes my dough a lot smoother and just nicer. So you can, again, start to see the texture. Some people only do it a few times, but I'm doing it until I like the texture of the dough in my hands. It's starting to smooth out a little bit. I'll do it one more time, and then I let it sit. It'll go about another half an hour, okay? So I'll put it back in the bowl. It'll sit about another half an hour, and then I'll do this 2 more times. And again, you'll be able to start to see the difference as we go forward, the texture of the dough. Okay, so this is set. We've done one gentle stretch and fold. This is our second slap and fold. Okay, so you can see it looks different now than it did the first time. And you can see first it started out real shaggy. Now it's getting smoother. So now we're in our next slap and fold. And it's definitely firming up. I think you could probably see the difference in it as we go. Sometimes I have to, when it gets firmer like this, I have to smack it a few times to get it to stretch out a little bit. And I don't know if everybody does this differently. I don't know, but like I said, I like doing this. I feel like it makes my bread come out better than when I did the stretch and folds. So, but to each his own. Some people probably do the stretch and folds. I like this. Okay, so now you can see it looks different. I'm going to put it back in its bowl and leave it covered, and then we are making like buttery like croissant sourdough. So I'm going to have done the gentle stretch and fold, 2 things of slap and folds, and I have butter in the freezer. I'm going to grate that, and then when I come back, we're going to be doing a mix-in of the butter, and then we'll just go back to stretch and fold so that the butter doesn't go flying all over the kitchen. So, like I said, this one's going to be the croissant, like buttery sourdough version. Okay, so this has been in the freezer, and I'm going to go ahead and I grate it, and I'm going to use about 1.5 sticks for the bread, but I'm going to go ahead and get it grated so that I can incorporate it into my sourdough bread. Okay, so now this sat for another half an hour, and now we are going to add the butter. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead for good measure and just do another slap and fold before we do the butter. I like it. I mean, you can see how much less sticky it is. You know, just the texture changes so much after you work with the dough. But I just do a couple more for good measure. Okay, so now, like I said, you can see how different the whole, the dough looks. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to stretch it out a little bit here. And I'll just pull it and try to make kind of like a square. Let's see, stretch it out just a little bit. It's not stretching too much. Okay. All right, there we go. I gave it kind of like you can see it, a little bit of a square there. All right, so now I have grated up 1 stick of butter. I had it in the freezer, so we're going to just put it all over on here. And then I'm just going to kind of lay this over, and then this. I don't really have much of a system here. I've only done this one other time. It came out good, but I only did it one time, so I don't really have much, like I said, of a regular system. So put some here, then I'll fold it over some more, because obviously we want to get the butter into as many of the areas as we can. So I'm going to squish it down again a little bit. Get some more butter on here. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of do what would be like stretch and folds, just to try to get the butter worked in. I push down with my one hand, stretch it out, fold it over, and then just sort of keep turning it and keep doing that. Kind of push it back down. Okay, so we've got 1 stick of butter in there. Last time I did 1.5 sticks, so I did this stretch and fold. I'm going to let it sit for about 15 minutes, and I'll do another at least 1/2 stick of butter. But again, you can see a big difference in the dough as you have worked it. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, I'll put it back in the bowl, and then let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to, maybe a half an hour, and then I'm going to do another thing of butter, but keep the butter frozen until right before I do it. Then I grate it, because you don't want it to get obviously too warm, because then the butter will melt everywhere. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so Buddy is joining us for the final one. Now, he's on his good behavior. He promises, because he knows this is not dog stuff, right? You're on good behavior. He has washed his paws. He probably should be wearing, like, one of those, like, hairnet things so he doesn't shed, but I'm not wearing one either. And like I said, we don't sell our bread. It's for us, so we're okay with him being in the kitchen. Okay, so now we have done 1 stick of butter has been incorporated into our dough. I'm going to get it out for one more time here, and I'm going to stretch it out, and I'm going to put 1 more stick of butter spread and include it in here. So it's about 1.5 sticks of butter. Okay, total, that's grated and incorporated into our sourdough bread. And I'll do a little bit of like stretching and folding, just give it a little bit. I've worked the dough quite a bit. Don't want to overdo it here. Give it a little bit of one more time. Okay, you can see the dough looks very different than it did when we started. I mean, look how much smoother. It's not sticky. Very different than what we started with. So now I'm going to put it in the bowl, and it's going to stay lightly covered. I usually use a cloth, but I don't have one sitting right here. I'll put a cloth on it overnight, and I will let it rise. Our house will be about 66 degrees overnight. We turn the heat down. It's still kind of chilly out, so it'll be about 66. First thing in the morning, I will look at it, and if it's risen enough, I will go ahead and shape it, and then I will put it in the refrigerator. But that will be, I will video it for you. That will be part 2. I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. This is part 1. I hope you have enjoyed Buddy and I making. Buddy, you're not paying any attention. He is so not interested when we're doing this, are you? You're not happy about doing this? No, he says this is nowhere near as fun as his dog stuff. But anyway, so check back for part 2, and you will see how our croissant buttery sourdough bread comes out.